Happy Friday. Welcome to Audiotopsy. Hey guys, I actually have a real world scenario that happened to me just a couple days ago that really pertains to what we're trying to do here on the show. My dad called me and he's like, Vic, I found this song on YouTube and I've been listening to it like for a half hour. I've been looking up all these different versions and it's so beautiful and it's just worshipful. And he like thought he'd found this beautiful new Christian worship song. And I'm like, oh, dude, I said, Dad, it's not this song, is it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, Dad, that is not a Christian song. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, it's an erotic poem put to music. And he's like, no, it talks about Jesus. And I'm like, Dad, listen. And he was getting very defensive. Like he was very upset because he'd just been having this worshipful experience with it, right? He's like, but there's kids, like there's kids singing it. Like they're in choir robes. And I'm like, Dad, listen. So I pulled up the lyrics and I very slowly read the lyrics out loud to him. And even though he was on the phone, I could just see the wheels in his head turning as it got quieter and quieter on the other end. And he realized not only is this not a worship song, not only is this actually a very erotic song, but now it's actually blasphemous because you're using biblical metaphors to describe something very sensual. And then he was livid. And so I got to see this whole process of cognitive dissonance turning to an aha moment here through this experience with my dad. And I thought, this is what we're trying to do on Audiotopsy. We're trying to get people to actually interact with the lyrics to songs. A lot of times we think we know what a song is about. And we're singing it on the top of our lungs. We're enjoying it. We think it's something beautiful. We think it's something pure or lovely. And then we don't realize, oh, this isn't a love song. This is about some guy getting probed by aliens, like we did that on the Van Halen episode, right? So I just thought that was a really good real world example that explains what we are trying to do here. We need to interact with the lyrics. And if the lyrics don't agree with our worldview, we should seriously question why we're listening to that music.
Wow, very good. Interesting. So, yeah, folks, here we are. And we were turned on to today's.
I want to know what song it was.
Oh, he's there we go. Yeah. We were turned on to today's little tune by Kenny. Kenny, I hope you're happy. We're doing your song. So since this is your idea, why don't you introduce it?
Yeah. All right. So my song for this week, and I'll tell you a little story. I this artist, Sturgill Simpson. He's an artist, and he's not very big, very stuff. But I was late, probably 9 years ago. I don't remember which show it was on. Might have been the Tonight Show, but it was late, and he comes out singing, and this song kicks in, man, and he hits this big old E chord on the acoustic, and he goes into this Waylon Jennings sounding voice, and I went, oh wow. And he starts singing. He says, the first line is, I've seen Jesus in a lake of fire that I was standing in. And then he went into it. And he's playing this classic. It is the most classic country song ever. And I was listening, and it's been on. I kept going like this. Did he just say? And I know nobody else is paying attention to it, but I did. So it's Turtles all the way down, man. This one here is it's got some interesting lyrics. We're gonna have fun today with this one.
Well, no, and you said it immediately. It is, hold on here, folks. Yeah, that's the fun of going live. I noticed immediately this guy sounds like Waylon Jennings, and I'm like, and I wanted to listen to a little bit of it, and I put this song on, and then another song came on, and I thought like it flipped to a Waylon Jennings song. And I went and looked, and I was like, oh, this is still Sturgill Simpson. Because it wasn't a Waylon Jennings song I ever heard. But, man, does he sound like Waylon.
Yeah. He does.
But not, of course, singing about some of the things that Waylon would sing about. So why don't we jump into it? This is a interesting concept for a country song. And we're going to get into, why you picked it and all of that and into the lyrics. We're just going to break it down. So Turtles All the Way Down. Why don't we jump into it and listen to this song here?
I've seen Jesus play with flames in a lake of fire. I was standing. Met the devil in Seattle. Spent 9 months inside the lion's den. Met Buddha yet another time. Showed me a glowing light within. But I swear that God is there every time I go to the eyes of my best friend.
Whoa. Okay, whoa. Can I go first?
Yeah.
Wow. That's loaded with a lot of stuff. There's so many things I want to say about that right there. Let me just say that I don't think Sturgill Simpson is a Christian. Okay. So okay. So much, similes and metaphors there. Okay. I don't think you met the real Jesus. Okay. He's talking about Buddha and Jesus and, God on the same level there almost. I think it's interesting. I want to point out the 9 months in the lion's den. Of course, 9 months we know is a human gestation period.
Mhm.
And the lion's den is comes from the book of Daniel and the lion's den. So it seems like right away, my first take is this guy is searching and he's just picking from different places and he has not found the truth. The truth as we know it. Okay. But he's had enough of a little bit of, stuff to get him really confused.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So Tom, I just want to give a little bit of a definition to the audience. I was not familiar with this phrase "turtles all the way down," so I just assumed, I didn't know if it was just I didn't know if it was nonsensical or if it had some sort of meaning, and it does. And this will give us sort of an idea as to what world religion is influencing a lot of this song. Turtles all the way down is an expression of the problem of infinite regress. The saying alludes to the mythological idea of a world turtle that supports a flat earth on its back. It suggests that this turtle rests on the back of an even larger turtle, which itself is part of a column of increasingly larger turtles that continues indefinitely.
Well, and I first heard Derek Gilbert talk about this years ago, right? Where he was explaining somebody's worldview and they believed, they asked whoever, well, what's holding up the earth? And they said, well, it's a giant turtle. He says, well, what's holding up that turtle? Like, well, that's another turtle underneath that one.
That's right.
Well, what's holding up that turtle? Well, there's another turtle. So turtles all the way down. Well, I mean, why is it a turtle, right?
That's what I was just thinking.
That's what I've never figured that out.
Yeah, it could have been anything.
A turtle?
Why could it have been a hippopotamus?
Well,
hippopotamus is all the way down.
Exactly, because I'm thinking just like you got a turtle with like a round thing. If you got the earth on it, and now it's like unstable. I would just think the whole thing would be like going like this.
Well, maybe that explains the seasons and the
like we're doing
the setting of the sun and
it all makes sense now.
Yeah, and
well, I'm just gonna say, I'm assuming that there are people out there that actually believe this.
Probably.
But they won't believe in a savior, in the truth of the gospel that it's impossible to debunk. It's impossible to to ruin the credibility of the gospel. But anyway, go ahead, Ken.
I just thought it was really funny when interesting when Vicki was saying that it talked about that not just the earth sets on a turtle, but a flat earth. And that is like the old cosmological type aspects of, even, the of just in the past. So there's some stuff there. I'm not going into that at all. That's we're not going to talk about that. But just what's not this show. Not this show.
Well, I will say this, that I know people, and I'm friends with people that believe that the earth is flat.
Absolutely.
I'm personally not one of those people. But I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, no. I have some people I love that.
I could be right.
Smart people.
Yeah.
Very, very.
So, but personally, I have no dog in the fight. I don't really care about the shape of the earth. There's other things I'm concerned about first.
Right.
And, everybody's got their own thing. That's cool. I struggle with, a lot of things when it comes to space exploration and science and going to the moon. And I don't necessarily believe in it all, the way, and no doubt that we're being lied to, but what it is, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is, but.
And none of those things to me, I see way too many people battling over, and these aren't salvation issues, man. That's not,
no.
We can believe. I can have somebody that I totally believe in stuff that's completely flat earth and somebody else is round earth. Yeah. And we're all on the same page, brothers and sisters in Christ. I don't, to me, that's not I see a lot of battles going about that. And I don't,
I want to say something so bad, but it would get us so many emails that I just like it would be yay West. Yeah. It would be yay West.
Oh boy. Attention Tom.
Level, you know what I'm saying? Controversy.
Yeah. That's right. We'll get you a black hood. You can say whatever you want.
I mean, this will be like controversy among the Christians. I don't have time for it, honestly, so we're just gonna skip it. Yeah.
So I just want to say, let's say for a moment, this turtles all the way down is like correct cosmology. We all get to heaven one day and go, well, I'll be darned, this turtles all the way down. But I would think, okay, if you got like a big bang, it's like, oh, this big accident, this cosmic, collision, whatever. There would be so much structure and design and organization and intricacy to turtles going all the way down that it would make me, I would then have to question, there would have to be an intelligent designer to that. So I think it's interesting. This really couldn't be a secular viewpoint, because I think it takes just as much faith in an intelligent designer to believe that there's a bazillion million turtles going all the way down than that someone said, let there be light, and there was light. Equally as phenomenal of a feat, I think.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're talking about this, but let's go ahead and go on with the song.
Hey, I will say this in the first lyrics there, and like you said, Tom, you had some good ideas with that. I love the line when he says, I swear that God is there every time I glare into the eyes of my best friend.
Yeah, that's another line.
That's a great line, man. And I love the fact that he's searching. He's probably doing a lot of drugs, and there's some specific drugs that he's going to be talking about. I don't know if he drops it in here, but I have some things to talk about on that. But but just the fact that he's kind of going through all these things, and then he makes a statement that honestly, man, everybody can say that, man. The eyes of your best friend. You see people that are true friends, man. That is, you realize, to me, that's one of those things. That's a God moment. That truly is. So,
another thing I want to say is his voice really grabs you.
Line. It's probably the only.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. We got a little bit of some tech problems, but what I was going to say is, I think what's really noticeable is his voice really grabs you. Okay, right from the beginning of this song, it's like, it's the instrumentation, right? It's just like, wow, I like listening to this guy's voice. This is just one representation of his, music. I wonder what his other stuff is about, if it's similar to this, or if he has any love songs, or if this is a love song or what. But
yeah, and actually you got to think about he dropped this song right in the middle of the biggest invasion of bro country we've ever had in our lifetime, of like Florida Georgia line and all these kind of city country cowboy stuff. He drops the most authentic sounding country song I've heard in 20 years. Now the lyrics are not, but the sound is, man, because that big E acoustic sound, man, the chord progression is the same chord progression as Folsom Prison Blues, man. It's the same sound.
So
So
I wonder if there's an audience out there big enough for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the typical. It's not the typical lyrical content that country fans would typically gravitate towards.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it got played on the radio or anything, man. But
let's listen to some more of Turtle all the way down. Here we go.
Says my son, it's all been done. Someday gonna wake up old and gray. Go and try and have some fun, showing warmth to everyone. Meet and greet, cheat along the way.
Okay, I went first last time. Somebody else go.
Yeah, hey man, says my son, it's all been done. That's in the Bible. That truly is, man. That's part of there's nothing new under the sun. There's a whole lot to that saying. So he's definitely pulling some biblical imagery from into the thing. And then he's going for full on outlaw country. You meet and greet and cheat along the way. It's a
mixture of country, biblical themes, and some kind of extra dimensional, acid trip.
just wait for the next verse. That's all.
Yeah. I think there's so much confusion in this verse, and it's almost like, do whatever feels good, and even if it's hurting other people, you do it with a smile and you be warm and gentle, and just it's this do whatever feels good sort of thing. Watch out for number one sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was thinking of do what thou wilt when I was listening to it.
There's nothing biblical about this sentiment of just go out and have some fun. In fact, the guy in the Bible that was storing up all of the stuff in his barns, and eat and drink, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you die. And that's really not the philosophy that we Christians live by. Yes, we will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, but to live is Christ, to die is gain. So there is, it's not that we don't have any joy here, but this whole eat, drink, and be merry is not really the philosophy of a believer. So
a little bit like thematically, is that a word? Lyrically, it reminds me of something like from Tom Waits. Tom Waits does some weird stuff with gospel, right? Like he wrote the song Down There by the Train. He wrote the song Jesus Gonna Be Here, which has got some interesting lyrics about the moon and Jesus gonna be here. And if we could get those lyrics just as a comparison, I wouldn't mind. Jesus Gonna Be Here by Tom Waits. If Katie can look that up as we're maybe going on.
And then you've got Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen. There's so many people that think that's a biblical song because it's a lot of imagery and words into it stuff, but it's not a Christian song.
Well, they play that in churches, right? I've heard that before.
Yeah, they changed the lyrics. I'm trying to think of who. Somebody made a called Another Hallelujah. I can't think of the guy's name, but he did a guitar player.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of his name, but gosh, I
Well,
don't know. But that's
it's interesting that you guys would bring that song up because it's the one that mesmerized my dad.
Is that it?
Okay.
We've come full circle. And I read in the lyrics.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's but you know what? A lot of people know that song from seeing Shrek and Leonard Cohen's version in it.
Yeah.
But it's funny you're talking about that because I had somebody yesterday was going through it, and the Jeff Buckley version of that song that was of Hallelujah's is crazy haunting and really kind of spooky sounding. So but that
and Katie,
it gives you the feeling
Jesus Gonna Be Here, not Chocolate Jesus, but that's another example, Chocolate Jesus from Tom Waits, where it's got this really kind of crazy twist on the gospel. So I don't have my glasses, so let me blow this up. And hold on a second here. So it says, well, Jesus is going to be here. He's going to be here soon. He's going to cover us up with leaves, with a blanket from the moon, with a promise and a vow and a lullaby for my brow. Well, Jesus is going to be here. He's going to be here soon. Now, so some of these lyrics are kind of interesting. It says, well, I'm not going to do nothing but wait here. I don't have to shout. Yeah. I got no reason and I got no doubt. Yeah, I'm going to get myself unfurled from this mortal coiled up world. Jesus is going to be here soon. Now, most of these lyrics they're kind of legit, you know, but there's some kind of weird stuff in there when it talks about, cover us up with a blanket from the moon. Go down a little bit. Well, no, go back up. I'm sorry. Go back up. It says, I said, Hollywood, be thy name, because Jesus is going to be here. He's going to be here soon. And there was another line down there. Okay, it says, go up a little bit so I can start here. It says, well, I got to keep myself faithful. And you know, I've been so good. Yeah, except for drinking, but he knew that I would. Anyway, yeah. Obviously a lot of inserting this self-gospel, this twisted gospel into these lyrics, and I think it's kind of interesting the way they just the way they do that. And I think Sturgill Simpson possibly influenced by some of these things that we're mentioning today. So why don't we go on and listen to some more of this Turtles All the Way Down. Here we go.
There's a gateway in our minds that leads somewhere out there, far beyond this plane. We're reptile aliens made of light, cut you open, pull out all your pain. Tell me how you make it legal, something that I'll make in our brain. Some say you might go crazy, then again it might make you go insane.
Okay, Kenny, your turn to go first this time.
All right. So check this out. Probably 20 years or so ago in my researching and stuff, I came across this book, DMT, The Spirit Molecule, by Rick Strassman. He's a doctor. And he did some actual clinical DEA-approved clinical research at the University of New Mexico. And what Sturgill's talking about here when he says reptile aliens made of light cut you open and pull out all your pain, a big portion of the people that they did this study on had that happen. So they were taking DMT, which is supposedly is made inside the pineal gland, that they were working with that, and it made people in this search, they almost all had the same thing where they would wake up being on a surgical bed thing, and there was like these reptile aliens all around them, and there's things where they're talking about where they're pulling light and things out of these people. Now that could be a serious drug trip, because that's what they were doing. They were doing stuff onto it. But when I read that book 20 years ago, I was like, wow, it's weird and crazy and amazing that people were all having the same experiences, that were not together and did some things like that. But that's the line that when I was listening to the song the first time, I went, hold up, whoa, wait a minute. I've heard this before, and I realized that it was from this book. And it's a real interesting book, and you can get into it because it talks about, DMT is a plant-derived chemical that's also manufactured by the human brain, and it consistently produced near-death and mystical experiences. And it says many volunteers reported convincing encounters with intelligent non-human presences, especially aliens. So there was a whole thing of that, when I was doing some research many years ago. That's what stuck out to me for this song, is that's a very specific idea. And so he either read it, or he experienced it, because I do believe he probably did quite a bit of drugs.
So yeah,
about drugs. There it is. That's what he says.
Well, that's interesting because that line didn't make sense to me. I didn't know what he was talking about being illegal, but
that's right. That's the whole thing with your body does produce a natural amount of DMT in the pineal gland. So what there's been stuff where they thought when people die that gets released, and they're trying to say for people that are not Christians and stuff that they're experiencing a natural effect of this DMT as they're dying. They're seeing the afterlife, and that it's not real. So that's where they're trying. That's where you get a lot of science. Take this, and your body creates that. So that's when he says that line about how you make illegal something that we all make in our brain. So he's going for that step with that into it. But it definitely is. This song is about drugs. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Right.
No, I'm so glad that none of this is real, and this is not reality, and this is our only hope, and these are the answers. Anyway, Vic, yeah.
Well, so it's interesting that there's a gateway in our minds that leads somewhere out there far beyond this plane. I think that's giving away that this isn't just a hallucination or some sort of like collective shared dream. Right. There's a gateway, the pineal gland, the third eye, that's taking you to another plane, which says to me that this experience is real. You're just not experiencing it in the physical. But if you talk to people who, like, say, have done an ayahuasca retreat,
that's right.
If it's just a dream or it's just a drug trip, why do these experiences spiritually transform these people for the rest of their lives? Whatever's happening in that plane, even if it's just a dream or a hallucination, it has succeeded in coming back into the physical with you and reshaping and influencing your life. So call it a hallucination if you want, but these are very powerful hallucinations because they have transformative power.
That's right. Quite a few people who've been in this situation did some of the studies. I mean, it changed their lives completely. So because they were seeing something else out there than just our normal, what we see with our eyes and ears and everything. So there's probably some really good stuff that comes with this. But what's really interesting is the guy that did this book, Rick Strassman, he actually goes on to say that he thinks that most alien abductions were people having accidental releases of DMT from the pineal gland, that they weren't really being abducted. So this is some deep stuff, man. That's why I said when I first heard the song, I was like, nobody knows what he's talking about, or they're even paying attention. I've never seen anybody talk about it. I knew it'd be great for this show because it's definitely an interesting topic. Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let's carry on. I don't know how much more of the song we have, but
I think like 2 more seconds.
Let's check it out. Yeah.
Every time I take a look inside that old fable book, I'm blinded and reminded of pain caused by some old man in the sky. Everyone, LSD, psilocybin, DMT, they all change the way I see. Love's the only thing that ever saved my life.
Okay, is it my turn again? Wow.
Yeah.
I think I've already said it. I'm so glad none of this is true. There's no hope in anything that he's saying. It's completely spiritually bankrupt, and it's really sad. And he has such a talent that, wow, the Lord could really use him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I will say this: when that line says he kind of comes out and throws, and he says, every time I take a look inside that old and fabled book, he's not believing in what the Christian thought of the Bible and all that stuff. And then he says, I'm blinded, reminded of the pain caused by some old man in the sky. He's throwing all the stuff. But what's interesting, he names off all these drugs he's done. All these drugs, marijuana, LSD, psilocybin, mushrooms, DMT. And he says, they all change the way I see. And then he drops, but love's the only thing that ever saved my life. And to me, God is love. So there's a situation there at the end of all these things. I'm searching, I'm taking all these drugs, but love is still the only thing that ever saved my life. Now, he's going to get really deep here and completely crush the Christian spirit here in a second with this. When the next lines are
and he is coming right out and rejecting the Christian gospel, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's really kind of sneaky the way that he does it. You know what I'm saying? Again, a talent, an amazing voice.
Yeah.
And he's just basically coming out and rejecting God, blaspheming God, calling it, calling him an old man in the sky, ruining our lives. And thank God for all these drugs because I've seen the truth and love is the savior. Well, dude.
Yeah. That last line captured me. The 1960s redefined the word love for us. Love is all you need, make love, not war. So love has become this, kind of like what he was explaining in the beginning, seize the day, eat, drink, and be merry. But that is not the definition of love. If we go into the scriptures for the definition of love, not to even mention the Corinthians 13 passage, but greater love has no one than this, than one lays down his life for his friends. So actually sacrificing everything is the definition of biblical love. Whereas worldly love, or the way we define it here, is, love is all, acquiring all of these things and getting these feelings of euphoria for ourselves. But he is right that love is really the only thing that will save your life. But Christ's love was manifest in his sacrificing it for us. And so it's interesting that line is really one of the truest lines in the song, but he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what he's saying there.
It's not the love of God or the love of Christ. He's seeing it very worldly, which we experience a lot of that now, where everything is self. Yeah, it is. And people want to redefine it in many ways. And I don't want to get into a big discussion on it, but you always hear people, love is love. And you see that in a lot of stuff.
Love
these
wins.
days.
Yeah.
Love wins. And you're like, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear some more of this. Are we coming up towards the end here now?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Don't waste your mind on nursery rhymes, fairy tales, blood and wine. Turtles on the way down the line. So to reach the realms we go home. Further realms our souls must roam to and through myths that we all call space and time.
Wow.
I told you. I said this song is one of those songs that it's so like, if you don't pay attention to the lyrics, you're going along and you're like,
well,
oh my God.
I listened to it when I first listened to it. I listened to it very casually.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second time I paid a little bit more attention. But now, as we're here and we're doing this show and I'm focused, it's all making sense.
And here's the thing I think it's really important to think about when we do with this show, especially when you separate the lyrics from the music, it changes. All of a sudden you can focus in on what he's really talking about, because the song is such a deceptive intro into it, because it comes in, he hits that chord, you feel like you're hearing Waylon Jennings singing, and all of a sudden it takes you back to this time when you heard country music and stuff like that. And you're like, you're enjoying the music and the sound. And then the lyrics are not what you would put as anything like that. You're like, oh my gosh, this is some crazy stuff. And
I wish I could remember the Waylon Jennings song where Waylon actually kind of twists the gospel. Not kind of, he does. I can't think of it right now, but I'll have to look it up and bring it up another time. But basically Waylon had a kind of like a universalist type of belief, something like that, if I remember correctly. Straight out calling the gospel nursery rhymes, and myths and
Fairy tales.
all of this. I tell you what, if you are if you're tuning into this show today and you happen to be a listener of Sturgill Simpson, or maybe even Sturgill Simpson himself, by some weird, aligning of the planets, if I could steal something from his vernacular, I just want to say very boldly, very lovingly, very Christ is the savior, the center of the universe, to forgive your sins, to redeem you from your sins. And his gospel is true. There was never anyone like him before, and there's never been anyone like him since. That there is true peace, true hope, okay? True cannot be debunked. It just cannot be. You cannot disprove the gospel and the reality of who Jesus is, and that the Bible is true.
Yeah.
Nice try. And good job. You sounded good trying. Anyway.
I'm gonna add this to it, that as I spent most of my life as a professional musician touring, that kind of lifestyle is not real, and it's a very different thing. You're really, people think about the people they see on the stage and all this stuff, but you're kind of sheltered in a lot of stuff where you're kind of by yourself a lot. There's a lot of his thinking. So to me, I read when he's going on to it, and I look at it and say, I remember being in the same place he was, where you're searching, you're feeling the stuff. And he kind of, now what I think he kind of, to me, my opinion is at the end, he takes the easy way out. And he goes basically with that common coexist bumper sticker you see everybody, and he kind of puts it on that. So to each their own till we go home. To other realms our soul must serve. He's basically just saying, I don't know. I think they're all okay. And you guys can all worship whatever you want and do that. And I think that's a very that's a viewpoint from a lot of musicians that are in that world, man. They've never had anybody really put the word of God to them. And so I always feel like that he's close.
Yeah. Katie sent a message in the chat here asking if My God and I maybe is the song. That's not the song, but I'm remembering a little bit more about it. The song, the Waylon Jennings song that I'm talking about is Waylon Jennings says something to the effect of, I'm saved in my own way. Okay. In other words, it may not line up exactly with the Bible, but I'm going to be okay, folks.
What's funny is that is being said the same way Sturgill at the end of the stuff. I'm going to be controversial. Hey, guess what, man? Do what you like. It's still do what thou will. It's still about me. That's what they're pushing at the end of this, is do what you feel is right.
And technically, it's not even coexist. It's coexists, because he's even saying, believe whatever you want, but don't believe the fairy tale part. So believe whatever religion you want, but not the old man in the sky and the fairy tales.
Hey, folks, shout out to Katie. She found this song. Here, listen to these lyrics from Waylon Jennings, okay? And then we're going to get back into talking about Sturgill, but this is relevant. Says, in my own way, I'm a believer. In my own way, right or wrong. I don't talk too much about it. It's something I keep working on. I don't have too much to build on. My faith has never been that strong. Here's there's a man in that old building. He's a holy man, they say. He keeps talking about tomorrow while I keep struggling with today. He preaches hellfire and brimstone, and heaven seems so far away. I do believe in a higher power, one that loves us one and all, not someone to solve our problems or to catch me when I fall. He gave us all a mind to think with and to know what's right or wrong. He is that inner spirit that keeps us strong. In my own way, I'm a believer, but not in voices I can't hear. I believe in a loving Father, one I never have to fear, that I should live my life to the fullest just as long as I am here. So basically, I'm making up my own rules. Interesting.
Yeah.
Here we have the the classic country artists, but just as lost. I've read biographies about Willie Nelson. Okay, very similar stuff. Completely lost, and basically universalist. I'm just gonna say JC Johnny Cash. He was the one, that I think got truly redeemed and proclaimed it. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
And since we're talking about country music, there is a news story that came out where Dolly Parton rebuked Satan on stage. But again, here is another example of one of these celebrity Christian, people that have no real foundation in truth. Okay. I could talk about Dolly Parton, but just an example, she's got the right idea. We appreciate it, but it doesn't ring true with all the other things that she embraces.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think she's got somebody like Katie in her ear that's telling her, "Hey, drop something about Satan. That'll work on the crowd." It's like, here's a good one. Here's your fan base. Yeah, let's talk about Satan.
I wish she had somebody like Katie in her ear.
Well, I do too. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Speaking of which, Satan is real. Country legend Dolly Parton passionately rebukes devil on primetime TV. Hey, that's cool. And I believe that what she's saying is it comes from a real place. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But along the way, it gets really messed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you judge by the fruit, man. There's some rotten fruit floating around that place.
Yeah.
I still like going to Dollywood. It's a fun place. Just saying, it's
Well, I've been to Dollywood. I've been there, and Dolly Parton is, I think, an artist that we're going to have to cover sometime because she is an amazing songwriter, and just one that I like, that I'm very impressed with. So, but anyway, Sturgill Simpson. I just think that this guy is really fascinating, and for anybody that doesn't know the behind the scenes story here at Audiotopsy and Through the Black, poor Kenny down there at the bottom, he got vetoed last week because we weren't. Vicki and I were like, dude, we just weren't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? And we gave it we kind of gave it some more time, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, nothing's clicking with me right now. So we sent you back to the drawing board, and we said, you know what? After more thought, we're just gonna say, hey, we need to put Kenny's song on there and apologize to him because this is a perfect song for us to cover. So Vic, do you want to go ahead and do that and apologize to him?
Kenny, Tom is very sorry for being bullheaded, selfish. We basically decided that since we're not going to fire you, we'll just haze you instead.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. I agreed last week after we looked at it. I was like, you know what? Let's settle. It's probably a little too much because to me, it's just one of those songs that I don't think people know. I'd read the lyrics, knew some background onto it. And I'll tell you what's really funny about Sturgill Simpson is he came out strong with this really big country background like that. And then his next albums were not country. They were almost like rock with horns, completely different. He's just one of those artists. I think he just keeps rediscovering. He just keeps doing his own thing. He's never going to be big. I saw a thing one time at the Country Music Awards where he was outside busking, playing with the guitar thing for tips. Because he wasn't in the actual thing or getting an award. So he was there getting attention, just standing outside doing his thing. So he's an interesting person, man.
He is, man, and I think we'd have a great conversation if we sat down and talked to him.
Oh yeah, totally. I want to kind of focus a little bit on. I want to kind of focus a little bit on the last line of his song. I mean, this is the culmination of the whole song. This is like the punch. This is like what he wants everyone to go away with, and it's sort of like, hey, our eternity is just roaming around in this cosmic nothingness, and I think even in the Buddhist definition of this turtles all the way down, it does infer the philosophical term anavastha refers to non-finality, infinite regress. And so if you're telling me, forget the fairy tales, forget this fabled man in the sky, I've got something even better for you. For eternity, you're going to roam around lost. Like, hey, remember that time you went on a vacation in New York City and it took you 3 hours to find the cafe? That's your eternity. You're going to be walking around with the tourist map, not knowing where you're at. Hollywood shows us this. Well, I don't know what that movie was with Robin Williams where they died and it took them years to, like, the husband and wife to find each other.
What dreams may come. Is that it?
Yeah. So, like, let's just roam around in these, like, barren wastelands looking for one person we recognize. And this is in other songs too, and it's in other philosophies. I'm thinking of Wherever I May Roam. It's a song off the Black album. And the culmination of that, it's this wanderer, this vagabond. And then in the very last line of that is, carved upon my stone, my body lies, but still I roam. So in other words, my life just goes on in this other dimension and I'm just wandering around aimlessly. That's like Earth again, all over again. We spend our whole lives trying to figure out, like, what is this about? What's my purpose? Where am I going? And then you're telling me that eternity, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just wandering around confused and trying to find people. That does not sound like heaven to me in any way, shape, or form.
No. This is a given. And I'm going back another direction real quick. And we can shift back over here again. But what it comes down to is accountability to sin. Nobody wants to be accountable for sin. Yep. And it's like, oh, dude, they hate the idea of being accountable for sin so much. They're like, okay, anything but having to be accountable for my sin.
Yeah.
Turtles, drugs, whatever, just get anything but that. And I'm telling you again, that repentance and putting your faith on the Savior of all humanity is such a great feeling.
Yeah.
To have that load lifted off your shoulders. And you know what? Here's the problem with any religion, okay? And basically all of them are covered in this song pretty much. Is you can have those beliefs, but you still have that burden. You know what I'm saying? There's no other belief system that unloads those sins off your back. Okay. So it's sad. It's sad to me.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, you guys, how we have this concept that somehow once we die, there's going to be no sort of consequences or accountability. Now, we live in a reality now where every single thing we do has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. Everything we do, the opposite reaction, right? That thing. So this idea that we have that somehow when we die, and I don't know why we're so confident about this, since no one's ever come back from the afterlife with anything, formidable to say otherwise. How all of a sudden, after we've lived in a reality for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we're going to now wake up to some reality where everything that we do, every choice we make is just in a vacuum and there's no accountability or consequence for it. And like you're saying, Tom, this idea that we come up with these philosophies, whether it's turtles or there is no God, or, hey, we were all just monkeys, or we came from, some protozoa, or I was born this way. This is all ways of telling ourselves that, once we die, all of this goes away. We'll be free from it. There's no consequence. No one's ever going to bring any of this up. It's all going to be forgotten in this like cosmic abyss of forgetfulness. And I don't know why we speak so confidently of that. I mean, if you even think about suicide, what's driving that is I want to get out of this mess. And we have this confidence that's founded in ignorance that on the other side, everything just goes away and there's no consequences and everything's great. Why do we have such confidence in that? The only person who ever came back to the grave and spoke at length to us was Jesus Christ. And he told us we're accountable for this stuff. So I don't know where all the confidence is coming from.
You know what bugs me about this song is how comforting it must be to people that want to walk away from the church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a gospel for them. Like, oh, dude, I'm really having a hard time with my parents. You know, they wanted me to go to church, or, you know, the prodigal. Yeah, you know, turtles all the way down. That's right, Sturgill. You know, and I don't see this any different than Highway to Hell, really.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
This song, it doesn't bother me to talk about this song and listen to this song because it's so far removed from the truth, you know, that it's just kind of like, to me, it's not even a threat, you know, of being reality. But I listen to stuff like this and I like sharing. I like what we're doing today. This is a great song that you can take to somebody. And maybe, like, I would take this song to my 15-year-old son and say, okay, let's listen to this song. Okay. And let's examine it. And, you know, tell me what you think. There's a lot of things covered in here. And I can teach him about all the wrong stuff, you know, like I've done before. And why this is wrong and why this is bankrupt, you know. Hey, thanks, Sturgill. You did a lot of work for us. So
that's right. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, guys, too. And I just think it's so it's really a lost opportunity when so many of us in the church, and I know I was raised in this culture, it was, if something isn't the truth, we fear it, we throw it away, we scorn it. These guys are satanic, and they said DMT in that song, you can't listen to it. And I understand the fear. I understand why it's there. But I really feel like it's a missed opportunity. I mean, like the conversation that we just had over the course of the almost last hour, we're strengthening each other's faith here. This is iron sharpening iron. We're like, have you thought about this? And look what it's saying. And so we're allowed to talk about what the world has wrong. Like we're allowed to talk about that and use it as an opportunity to strengthen not only our faith and our belief system, but to teach children who don't have their full frontal, lobe, formed yet. This is logic. This is reasoning. This is how you learn discernment. This is how you interact with the world and learn apologetics. And so I think that it's okay to sit down with a kid, and we have to be careful with what we do and the timing and the age, because
definitely
we have proclivities as young people. Like if you might sit them down to listen to a song, and if it's like a guitar riff or something that grabs hold of their heart, you're gonna maybe cause them some temptation there. But maybe you don't even put the music on. Maybe you just pull the lyrics up off of the site and you just go through the lyrics. And so I just think it's a missed opportunity when we just do this la 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 la. We are really, I think, missing out on an opportunity to teach kids how to think through, why do I believe what I believe? What's wrong with the song? How can I prove with my own mind and scriptures what message in this song is incorrect? Like, we've got to make sure our social media addicted kids still learn, and it's something that has to be learn how to use their brains.
So, Vic, anybody listening to this out there, and who knows how many people in the archives will listen to this show, listen to it live. I wonder if anyone will come across this song or this artist in the next couple weeks, or a situation where something like this comes up, and what somebody could do would be like, oh, what you're talking about reminds me of this song that Kenny, Vicki, and Tom were talking about. Let me, what do you think about this? And then you can explain to them why it's wrong or why it's not true. There's so many different things that you can do, or you find somebody that, might, be a fan of Sturgill Simpson, be like, oh yeah, hey, I was watching this one show and they talked about, this song Turtles All the Way Down. That was an interesting song. What do you think about it? And use it as a tool. Okay. The enemy wants this song to be a tool, a recruitment tool, so to speak. We can use things, and I'm not endorsing listening to this guy's music. I'm not you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we should let this, kind of thing anywhere near our heart, so to speak. But Vic, you said something key. Don't fear it. Okay. Everybody's like, I remember seeing people, and I talked about this, I think, on the show. I would be in a shop full of guys that I worked with when I worked in this metal fabrication shop, and they weren't saved. And when the song Highway to Hell came on, they would turn it off because they were afraid of that song, and I was just laughing. I'm like, really? You're afraid of that song? And anyway,
right.
Ken.
No, you're absolutely right about that. I feel that way with a lot of stuff, especially I deal with a lot of kids. And I teach. I'm a full-time music teacher, so I deal with parents and stuff. Now, I will tell you, there are songs that I will point out to a parent and say, "You need to hear this and read these lyrics."
Yes,
and I leave that situation up to them, and most of them agree with what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm just there's just certain things, and there's a lot of hidden messages in music, especially today. It's become very different in the styles and all kinds of stuff. But yet, at the same time, I can find songs that sound exactly like that group or whatever, the heaviness and their growling and stuff. And the lyrics are some of the most Christian and edifying lyrics I've ever read. So it's really one of these things that, I take each song as its own thing and try to do that with that. So yeah, this song's a crazy song though. It's crazy.
Well, Kenny, I know I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again. Good pick.
Thank you.
Well,
hey, yeah, I like this, man. This is awesome. I was funny. I when I got on their thing that shows what's coming up, and I saw the thumbnail, and I went, they decided to do the song. I was so excited because I literally was like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
So, folks, if you don't like this song, yeah, send an email to Kenny.
Attention,
no, we're all in this together. So
yeah. No, it's a good one. I'm glad we did this one because I really feel like to me it's great to go through and just tear down these lyrics, look at stuff, and at the end to me it solidifies my faith. I listen to it, I know why it's wrong. I know what stuff it goes on with it. So to me, I'm less like I listen to it and go, man, all he's got to find is Jesus. It's that simple, man. You ain't got to be riding on some turtle. Now wait a minute, I will say this.
Good?
Yeah. The only thing that would change my mind would be if these were chocolate turtles with cashews.
Oh.
Cadbury's have missed out on some marketing right now. Chocolate turtles all the way down.
Oh, nice. Yes. Nice.
I like what you said right there, Kenny. Yes, yeah. It does. It strengthens my faith.
Yeah, it does for me.
It just it encourages me even more. I'm like, wow. So glad I'm not lost like this guy. So glad I have the answers. I have confidence. My faith cannot be shaken. Yeah. So, one thing I want to mention, and we're coming up here at the end, another artist that's kind of got into this territory a little bit is Shooter Jennings, the son of Waylon Jennings. And he put out some real country albums. And then he had an album that he did with a band that was it was country influenced, but it was really new agey, new agey. And definitely, all the influences from his dad and his life and, his experiences and drugs. Okay. Shooter Jennings, man, as lost as he is, I just feel like he's an artist that's just really searching for the truth as well.
I can actually tell you, I played a show with Shooter Jennings with one of my bands probably 15, 16 years ago at a big bike rally. Now, you want to talk about being on a place where nothing but bikers and stuff. But I'm going to tell you what, there was people there also that were some of the best Christians I'd ever met, man. Some of these bikers were just solid for Jesus. And it was cool. Shooter was an interesting person, man. I mean, I got to meet him and talk to him and stuff, but you know, he's got his own thing, man. We didn't talk about Jesus at the time because I wasn't really in it at that point.
Right. Wow. Well, folks, yeah. I'm kind of excited. We got one more of these, then we're taking a break next Friday night. We'll tell you in a few days. You'll find out what the song is for next week. But I just appreciate all the people that understand what we're doing with this show and what we're trying to do. We're doing our best to reach out to everybody. We want to represent the truth of the gospel. I realize there's some people out there last week that are like, okay, what are you doing here with the Magdalene? And, you know, that's okay. I get it. And it is what it is. But I appreciate you guys that get it. And I appreciate you guys that don't get it, too. We love you all. And thank you for the support. Thank you for everything. Throughtheblack.com is the website. That's where you can find our T-shirt line, Ezekiel 8. The gates of hell shall not prevail. It is well with my soul. All that stuff is over there. I will fight for you. Guys, check it out. And we will see you tomorrow night. Don't forget about tomorrow night. It's going to be Pastor Sean talking about skinwalkers. So going to be some good stuff, but we'll see you later. All right. Bye. Show's over, guys.
Why are you here?
Kenny, why are they watching?
I don't know.
We're done.
It's done.
We're done.
It's over. Please.
We're not. It's not nothing more tonight. Yeah, guys.
Done.
Guys, shut it off right now.
Done.
Go home.
Oh my
Show's
God.
over.
Show's over.
Nothing
people.
else to see here.
This is it.
Okay. Really? Goodbye.
Peace.